Welcome to That Guy's a Maniac podcast. My name is Richie, as with me as always.
It's
Farley, aka Kunzy11. Say hello, Farley.
Hello.
Hey, right, okay.
Oh, you deflated yourself now with your bad intro.
I have deflated myself a little bit. Okay,
You were really big energy.
Yeah, give me big energy again. Big energy again. Come on, do it.
Okay.
Oh, this is the worst giving me a big energy. Come on.
What?
Say something positive about me for a change.
You're good at sometimes getting the name of the podcast right.
Fine. Right, fuck it. Let's do this again. And welcome to That Guy's Maniac, the podcast. My name is Richie, as with me as always.
I am as with you as always.
Oh God.
I'm as with you as I'm gonna get.
As with me as always. Right, okay. Let's get past that. But right, okay, I can't be deflated. We've got to keep the energy going. We've got to keep this flowing. This is part 2 of our N64 episode. The last one was great. Yeah. It was exciting. Good fun. Good times. And we can't bring you good fun and good times, as always, as with me, without a sponsor. Farley, tell us about our sponsor.
That's right, Richie. You can find us at www.thatguys.co.uk. That Guy's a Maniac on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We write a blog about video games, and this podcast is about video games. And this week's sponsor is Rishadan Pawn Shop. Rishadan Pawn Shop. Everything comes to the waterfront eventually, on the tide or on credit. Thanks, Rishadan Pawn Shop.
You know, you take the piss out of my Scottish accent quite a lot. And just listening to you say pawn shop, it actually sounds a lot like you're saying porn shop. Just because of the soft R's of the English accent.
Soft R's? There's no R in pawn shop.
Okay, say pawn shop and then porn shop.
Pawn shop.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave that one out there.
Now you do it in Glasgow.
In Glasgow, it's gonna take a little while for me to get there. But no, okay, funny man.
No, go on.
Pawn shop and porn shop.
Which one's which?
Fuck off.
No, which one's okay.
Starting off, first one is PAWN, pawn shop.
Yeah.
The second one, pawn. Fucking. The second one, porn.
Same.
PORN, porn shop. There's a big difference there.
Okay. as with me as ever.
I know. I mean, I have no right to fucking criticize how anybody says anything because of my inability to. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say then. And with me as always, not as with me as always. All right, okay. And with me as always. There, I got there. You know, 4 minutes into the podcast, I can finally do the opening sentence.
Do the fourth word of the podcast. Bodes well.
It does bode well.
Thanks, Rishadan. Pound shop.
Pound
shop.
Right. Okay, so we are talking N64, but before we go in any further,
where are we going?
We're delving deep into the N64 recesses. Okay. But before we do, we've started up a little.
Where are we going?
Before
we put the hats on.
Yeah.
With your little torches on.
Yeah, or take our shoes off and go in. You know, we can be like polite Japanese visitors to N64 recesses. Oh gosh, man. The quality of my metaphors. Right.
I know. I like the way they had to kind of explain it all because there was a chance that no one would really get. what you're
Yeah,
talking
exactly. It is the old idiom. If you have to explain a joke, it wasn't funny. Yeah, right. But before
that old idiom. You know what they say? You know what they say, Richie?
Can I just say the thing?
I don't know. Can you? I mean, I've given you free reign and you can't. So I thought maybe if I neg you on, it will come out.
Neg me on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what I was going to say was we've had a little tradition recently about making little announcements. I don't have any this week. I was just wondering if you do.
I do.
Oh,
actually.
Okay, good. What announcements have you got for us? Actually, I'm lying. I do have an announcement. I'm so fucking stupid. Oh my god!
Yeah, I did wonder why you wanted to bring up the segment if you didn't have an idea, but you do. Here we go. Mid announcement segment announcement. So, do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna flagellate myself.
Okay, so my announcement is apparently there was shitloads of Resident Evil news this week, and I missed all of it. Some new Resident Evil 4 footage. Yep. Some Resident Evil Village stuff, and none of it.
And that's your announcement that you missed the news.
My announcement is I'm aware there's news. For all those people writing in saying, "Oh, when are you going to talk about the Resident Evil news?" I know it's out there. I've just currently not seen it.
Well, I mean, you've already kind of set a precedence for this because was it last week you were just sort of saying you are aware of Resident Evil Village and you just don't want to play it.
Yeah, I will play it, but not when it comes out. Which turns out it's still not out.
Yeah, it's soon, I'm sure. Yeah, fucking great news. We are not a news podcast. You know, like
news flash. We are not a news podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. We are not a news podcast.
We are not a news podcast, despite the fact that we have a breaking news segment. So that was my announcement. Bit perfunctory this week. What's your announcement?
It's actually a return to a previous announcement where I was talking about, hey, I've been playing Diablo 3, doing the new season. Now,
yes,
I did it, and I'm done with it. It's that's ultimately.
Okay, N64 Part 2.
No, like it's an interesting phenomenon because when the Diablo 3 seasons come out, I'm actually excited. And there is... Sorry, go on.
As I mentioned previously, I don't know, something just really cheers me up that Diablo 3 is still getting new content.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've upgraded the followers to now have all... they can be fully kitted out in items, but the items that they can wear or you want them to wear are quite restrictive. So it wasn't that great a season. But basically, I choose a character and I go through from start to finish, and then I get up to the final level of Torment. I unlock all the things I can, and yeah, it's when you reach that final goal that you get to, you're just kind of like, yeah, I can now, you know, I'm the most powerful I can be. I could continue playing the game and get really sweaty and, you know, try and get all of the greater rifts, but then it's just kind of like, to do what? To get new bits of the same thing that do the same thing? I mean, ultimately, you don't want to question it too much. I mean, why are you playing it again season after season after season? Yeah. But I think it's like that journey from going from zero and then all the way up to the top tier build that your character can get. Might not be the most optimal items or something like that, but it'll be the top tier build with the right items. Yeah, it's good.
I presume you change class every time you do it, right?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is slightly pointless. But yeah.
No, And the reason I don't change class is because
change is bad.
No. Basically, the seasons change.
Oh
so,
God.
Well, yeah. The seasons change.
The seasons change. Basically.
Wow, it's gonna turn into a blooming Mamas and Papas song.
Breaking news. Seasons change.
Yep.
Nintendo releases Japanese games, and I've not seen a Resident Evil 4 video yet.
Listen, let me get my point across, okay?
Please. Seasons change.
So the seasons change, and
the children of the future.
The way you play them changes, and different armor sets are given to you. You have to unlock the different armor sets. And I quite enjoy playing through as the Crusader. So I just choose the Crusader each time, and I approach it. You can go back and you can play as any one of the other characters as you want.
A less racist character, perhaps?
Why is the Crusader racist?
Carry on.
Okay, fine. Listen, I play through, do the thing, and
cleanse. Yeah.
Cleanse and smite. Yes. All right. Well, okay. I think we're done here. Diablo 3. I played it. I enjoyed it.
No.
I'm just waiting for the next season.
Go on. So what? Here's my question.
Okay.
Because you don't change class, but you say you definitely hit I've done, right? I've not done everything, but I've done.
Yeah.
I've got all the way through to the end. You have a end point that's not a definitive end and done absolutely everything. But so what is it that keeps you going? Yeah. What is it that keeps you going and doing it again?
From creating a character onwards, or
what is it about a new season? So new season drops.
A new season drops.
Is it that there's a little bit of new content for you to do as you go through it again?
I think it's. Well, I mean, there's also a touch of nostalgia because you probably haven't played it for 3 months since you decided you weren't going to play it anymore.
Since the last season dropped.
Yeah, exactly. But also, there is, there's a certain randomicity, if that's the right word to use, for how you proceed through the season as well. Because you can go through it and you can do a bog standard Crusader build. But perhaps, if you're lucky, a nice, unique item will drop, and it'll just change the way you play it. Because, there's so many unique, legendary items that can drop, but they're so rare at the start. So that when you get a new one, you're just going, oh, this thing makes my shield charge really cool. I never really used it, but I will be more effective if I use it, so I'm going to start using it. And so
is it almost like a roguelike, the way you're playing it? You know how these roguelikes where there's 100 different items that you can pick up, and you do one run and you'll get fuck all and it'll be really tough, or you do another run and in the first room you pick up, the ray gun that creates 3,000 frogs, and then oh great, I'm doing the 3,000 frogs run, and it combos with something else, and the way you play the game is completely different.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit like a roguelike, and even like when you do the rifts, it is a little roguelike as well, because you are trying to find something to better yourself. So you're pushing against the limits that you can get. I never even really thought of it as a roguelike, but yes, it's got every single element of a roguelike in there.
It's just a very long in between runs. How long did it take you to get through the whole game, roughly?
I don't know. I don't really time it. It's also one of these games where I'll put it on the Switch and I will leave it just running. And I'll walk away. I'll come back, and then the guy will just be still standing in town, and then I'll come back and I'll hit him. But yeah, it's there's just there's a few loops that you have to jump through each season. You need to get one specific ring, which makes all of the sets need one less item, and that's a game breaking moment. That is when suddenly you're going to go from like a reasonable difficulty level to a much, much harder difficulty level and be able to survive much better, you know.
So you get the full set combo without actually having the full set.
Yes. So you end up mixing and matching it with other set items that allow for bigger damage or greater survivability. And because you kind of know all these things, but you haven't done it for 2 months, it's actually just fun to almost rediscover it and play it through again.
Has there been an end date announced? Because obviously Diablo 4 is inbound. Is there
it's
final season
Blizzard.
coming up?
It's Blizzard. You know, Diablo 4 will come out in sometime 2025, and it'll be delayed 15 times before then.
Okay. There's still life in the old girl yet.
Oh yeah. Like I don't think Diablo 3 is going anywhere anytime soon. I would like to see more of an overhaul, and I'd love to have seen more expansions, but that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Diablo 2 is one of the examples of like a game that's still going.
Oh, that's another piece of news I probably
did it. We went from having no news to 7 pieces of news.
I played the technical alpha of Diablo 2.
What? Break it down. What is that? You played the technical alpha of a 32-year-old game.
The Diablo 2 remastered.
Oh, okay. Are you allowed to talk about it?
Sure. I mean, yeah.
Blizzard come knocking at TGAM towers.
I mean,
we had.
We live in a time. No, there's no way. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, it was good.
And that's it. That's the extent of the coverage. Are you allowed to talk about it? Yeah, it's good. Okay. N64.
Fucking Blizzard knocking on the door. Excuse me, you said it was good?
You revealed to people the spoilery content that it was good. Tell me about it.
So what do you know
Playing?
about Diablo 2 remastered version?
Let's say I vaguely remember that we might have talked about it before on the podcast.
Okay. What's cool about it is a complete remaster of Diablo 2.
What does that mean?
As in, well, maybe my next sentence.
What remains of Diablo 2? The story?
Maybe the best way to explain this is my next sentence.
Okay.
You can play the entire game as it once was. As in, you can play through Diablo 2 in exactly the same way as it was before, including all of the shitty old graphics.
Right.
Including all of the old skill trees and stuff like that.
Okay.
But at any point in the game...
Worst remaster ever.
Any point in the game, you press G, and everything becomes beautiful. Everything is overlaid with...
like Halo did.
Yeah, kind of. The Microsoft thing.
Halo 3. Was it Halo 3? No. Halo. Just Halo remake.
Yeah.
But that was cool. Is it as cool in Diablo where you just tap a button and it's like boom?
It is so cool in Diablo
because
the move from the old pixely graphics from 1996 or whatever to overhauled new graphics that are on the screen now, and it is amazing. And you find yourself just switching between the two just to remind yourself, what the fuck did that enemy look like in the old pixels? And you're like, that's where the face is. The face is there. All right, I get it now.
That's 7 red pixel man. All right, okay.
Exactly, that sort of thing. And of course all of the weapons and the characters themselves, they just look so beautiful. But it plays in exactly the same way as Diablo 2, which is quite good. Now, they did send out a survey sort of asking you questions like, would you be open to changes? What changes would you want?
No.
Yeah.
No changes, bad.
Yeah. But I think Blizzard have learned a lesson from the World of Warcraft Classic as well, and that like everybody was in the outcry. Oh, no changes, no changes, no changes, and then they gave us no changes, and then everyone's like, oh, maybe some changes, some changes, please, some changes,
please. This game was awful. Please give us some changes.
Exactly. But yeah, so I played that, and fucking hell, this is 20 minutes of announcements now. Actually, no, the first 5 minutes was me unable to say the first sentence opening of the podcast. God, I'm so glad that I've clarified my ability to speak sentences. Clarified my ability.
It's become
right.
very clear to everybody.
Yes. Okay. So, less flapping, less news, less talking about Blizzard. I even managed to throw a World of Warcraft in there again.
I know.
So let's swing back to N64. So last time.
N64.
So last time we chatted Mario 64. We chatted some Pilot Wings.
Love Pilot Wings, man.
Yeah. Except you haven't played Pilot Wings 64.
Between us, we played Pilot Wings.
Yeah. And what else did we chat? We chatted Pokemon Snap as well.
Snap.
And Stadium a bit?
Not really. We mentioned it.
Well, let's talk about Stadium then.
We mentioned it.
Is that enough? Do we want to talk more about Stadium?
Let's talk about Pokemon Saves. It came out at a magical time when the first movie was coming out at the cinema. The anime was kind of on, 25 years after it had come out in Japan and America when it hit the UK. And going back to it now, it's kind of not very good. Well, the main game isn't very good, and it's something that Pokemon struggled with Pokemon Colosseum, kind of, and then what was the silly one on the Wii that now sells for silly money?
Oh God,
Battle Stadium, something like that. And so yeah, the core premise of the game wasn't very good, because if you didn't have a Pokemon cartridge, you could kind of rent Pokemon, but you couldn't really change their moves. You were kind of stuck with these move sets, and it was very difficult. And yeah, if you didn't have a Pokemon cart, it just wasn't very good. It was kind of cool to see your Pokemon in 3D. One of the most endearing things about it was that they had an announcer. I don't know if you remember, for the battles. He has some lines that stuck in my mind. So if you kept swapping Pokemon, he'd say, "It's a revolving door of Pokemon."
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. Yes. And various other lines. That was kind of cool. We've not seen that since. Having like a live commentator, which really helps make it feel like, spectated matches. But by far the best thing about Pokemon Stadium was the mini games, and the fact that if you popped in your cartridge of yellow or red or gold and silver, if you're playing Pokemon Stadium 2, and you had certain kinds of Pokemon, they would appear in the mini games.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant. And the other, well, I'll talk about the mini games in a bit, but the other thing I just this second thought about is they also played very hard and very loose with the colours of Pokemon. So depending on the nickname, you'd have different colours. Before, the idea of shinies and forms. So you'd have weird coloured Pokemon that we've never seen since. Slightly off-tinted colours. But yeah, the mini games were by far the best, and I think we spent hours, because with the N64 you just plugged 4 controllers in the front and got going. And so the mini games that I remember particularly well is the one where you have to cut. There's a falling block and you have to cut it at exactly the right point with scyther or pincer.
Yeah.
Then there was the Clefairy one.
Was there not a thing? I think that was like you would only ever have scyther unless you had a scissor, and you could use a scissor from your cartridge.
Yes, that must have been Pokemon Stadium 2. Yeah. So there was some Pokemon you would play as default, but then if you had them on your game, they would appear. I remember there's one, wasn't a very good mini game, unfortunately, but it was one where you kind of rolling down a hurdle course. I don't know if you remember those little plastic games you'd get. So they weren't like LCD games. They were physical games, and there was a whole range of them where you'd rotate a track, and so it'd have like a conveyor belt on it, which would have whatever, a horse track, and you'd rotate that, and that would rotate around as like a physical game, probably Tomy related. So there was one that was sort of like that, where it was a bunch of Pokemon running down a course, and you had to jump and boost at the right time, and you could play as Omanite. If you had an Omanite, it would roll along instead of the Rattata. I think the Rattata run, Rattata, something like that. The other good games were there's like a memory game with Clefairy.
Yep.
It's like a sexy teacher Clefairy with glasses on.
Okay, that's not what I remember.
Very. Then there's the Licky Tongue sushi eating game, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't use that. These days I use that word.
You don't use that word enough.
And there's probably a Magikarp jumping game, I think. Where you had to jump as many times as possible and hit a buzzer.
Oh yeah, almost like a precursor to Magikarp Splash.
Yeah, probably was also called Magikarp Splash.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And those were great. Good party games.
I mean that was the wonders. Like the Pokemon Stadium itself was fine, but the actual party games were the heart and soul of Pokemon Stadium. I remember, and I know it's a weird thing to be disappointed with, but obviously when you play the Game Boy games, you were aware that you were playing a turn-based game and your expectations weren't particularly high. But I think one of the saddening moments was the first time I played Pokemon Stadium, and you're like, right, I'm so hyped, this is going to be so cool. And you do a move, and you think, right, how's this going to play out? How is, Clefairy going to double slap Charizard? And then it just, you just see
some niche BDSM foundation. How is Clefairy going to double slap Charizard?
Well, that's the thing. Like, basically the camera shows Clefairy doing an action, double slapping, and then it cuts to, Charizard, and then he's getting hit twice. And then you think, you just sadly realise this is the turn-based, and you're not actually going to see them actually fighting, despite the massive jump from Game Boy to big 3D cartridge, And,
Ekans would do rap and turn into a giant cartoony spring, and then you cut to Charizard, who would flinch backwards twice. Yeah. And there began the complaints about Pokemon animations, which we still have in Sword and Shield. I was running. I think I might have tweeted the photo on that guy's account, because I was in some battle against a Cinderace or a Cinderace, or however you want to call it, and it did one move, which was like its signature move. I can't remember what it is, where it kicks a football. It's quite a cool animation where it, chips up a stone, kicks it with the other leg, and then spins around and kicks it and it becomes a flaming ball.
Yeah.
And then its next attack was something like slap or double kick, where it did just jump up and then it jumps to your character flinching back. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
I understand that the combination of 898 Pokemon and all their animations and the various ways you can have them have moves and making that look seamlessly when it hits 898 other Pokemon is difficult. I appreciate that. But yeah, we're still not quite there. But on that note, a very good thing about Pokemon Stadium 2, which I enjoyed, was there was this thing called I think it was like a battle quiz or battle school.
Yes. Yeah.
And it taught you how to play the game in a way that some of the lessons still stick with me. So it would teach you, how to do different combos. It would teach you how to belly drum. Take a hit, belly drum, take a hit, but then you're doing huge damage afterwards. And then there'd be a quiz afterwards that you had to get right in order to pass the class. That was great. That was really, really good. And it was from that I learned, because of course this is in the early days of the internet and before you could just jump onto whatever Pokemon community thing and get shouted at because you are playing suboptimally.
God forbid anybody plays suboptimally and enjoys the game.
Yeah, I know. What moves have you got on your? I think it's much worse in Go, but there's a little bit of it in the main series. And then the option to just play your Game Boy game on the big screen, which I like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think from my perspective, the best parts were the mini games. I can remember little bits of the school, but you obviously it holds a bigger place in your heart. Again, I think Pokemon Stadium is a game that I never owned, but just borrowed from other people.
Oh my god, I forgot the best game.
Oh, okay.
Is when you have to count the Pokemon that are running past the screen.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So you play as a bunch of, I think, Igglybuffs or Cleffers, and then you have a bunch of Pokemon running from right to left, but some of them are slow, and then some of them are rolling really fast, some of them run really quickly, and they all run at the same time, and you have to, whoever has nearest the accurate account, counting them wins. That was really good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
Doing a little revisit to Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah. I mean, imagine it's been emulated very well, right?
I have no idea.
Because I tried my N64 the other day. It does not work. It will play for 2 minutes and then cuts out. Okay.
Oh, that's like the saddest thing I've heard for a while.
I know, yes. It's probably some internal element that could probably be easily replaced. But what did I fancy? I think it was Pokemon Stadium, actually. Going in for a bit of Pokemon Stadium. Finally get that Kabuto that I never got originally. Yeah.
Well. Okay.
Good
times. We can't just let Pokemon Stadium talking about it just sort of die a slow death. Yeah, okay. There were so many good memories of playing Pokemon Stadium. The full fact that alone you could see your Pokemon on the screen, and if you had a shiny, it was a shiny. Is that right?
I think so. I think there were shinies in second generation, right?
Yeah, I feel like oh god, that big sweeping statement. I meant to just kind of finish this off, and I can't even remember if it's true or not. Bloody hell. Okay, great. Yeah, Pokemon Stadium, fantastic, wonderful game. Great addition to the N64 family. What do we have next, Farley?
I'm Pokemon Stadium 2. The next one's GoldenEye, and I feel like you can't really ever say anything new about GoldenEye, so let's just roll through all the platitudes.
Yeah.
Just all the cliches, just back to back. So, you can't believe your annoying friend who would play as Oddjob.
Yeah, I was definitely that annoying friend.
Really?
No. I can't even remember who I used to. I think there was a particular guard that I liked to play as, and that was it.
Yeah. I played as
it's like you have
Natalia.
The choice of playing like Roger Moore, Oddjob, Jaws, all of these characters, and I think there was just a guard that I liked to play as.
Arctic Guard number 3.
Yeah. That's like literally his name, you know.
Yeah, it was great at the time, and very. I mean, these are all cliches. Very hard to go back to because obviously the DualShock won the war of being the dominant control mechanism for first-person shooters.
Yep.
But at the time, the precision you could have with the little stick and using Z to bring up your crosshair, it was kind of cool. The challenges and the different difficulties, and the way that the levels kind of feels innovative still. The fact that if you're doing it on whatever the difficulties were, double agent and spy and whatever, and that the level parameters would change. You had more tasks to do, and then do them really quickly to unlock the super cheats. Just gave it so much longevity beyond multiplayer. So I think in our house, we probably played it as much multiplayer, and we played it a lot multiplayer as we did, just playing the dam over and over and over and over again to skid around the corner, throw the mine without looking at the guys that he blows up, and then he drops the key card and he throws the key card halfway across the level, which means you can just hit it on a sprint, and then you don't have to wait for the truck.
It's almost like an early roguelike because you need to know absolutely everything.
It's everything roguelike this week.
And it's so true. It's like the whole wonder of GoldenEye was they actually had the same patterns, and as long as you did everything flawlessly and you kept going, you would know what guy would be at that time, which made you feel like you were some kind of special agent, which is all that game needed to do, but it was great, and just like the locations and how well they replicated them. Admittedly, the models, let's talk about the models briefly. Polygony men with a flat face. This is what was I talking about? Was it Shadow Man the other day there? It's just it's just where it's just a polygony face, and the only thing that moves is perhaps some pixels that move around the mouth, and you're just like, oh. But they would.
But it was one of the early games, something on console, where depending where you shot them, they react differently. So if you shot them in the hand, shot them in the gun, shot them in the foot, they'd hop along or drop the gun, and obviously you had headshots. Which did, make each time you played it slightly different.
Yeah.
No? Not convinced?
Well, I suppose, it did. A little bit.
Before that, everything was like Doom level, blood splurts come out because you're vaguely facing the direction of them.
Yeah, a headshot counted for more. Although you had your Quakes and you had your tournaments as well. I don't think it's
But they didn't have hitting different body parts.
Yeah, they did.
What, Quake?
Quake definitely had the headshot facility in there.
Headshot definitely, but not body shots.
I suppose, shooting a guy in the hand.
Yeah, he'd drop his gun or shoot him in the foot, and he'd kind of hop backwards for a bit.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Hello? How's it going?
Fine. Are you in the pocket of Big Headshot to deny its innovation?
I feel like I'm agreeing with you, but I don't agree that it was like one of the first to do that. I feel like there was quite a few, especially on the PC at that time. Although, I mean, like, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but maybe even the PlayStation. I mean, we had the PlayStation DualShock was coming out at the same time as the controller. of the controller. What's the thing we're talking about? The N64, Richie. The N64. The controller. Fucking hell. Say the words, Richie. But yeah, I feel like that came around at the same time. I don't know. Yeah, it was innovative in that you could have a lot of fun shooting a gun out of someone's hand. And yeah. That messes around with all sorts of things. You know.
And the multiplayer, sweet.
Yeah.
With all the different funny modes, but also being able to play the story level. Play multiplayer on the story levels. And so there are a handful of levels which you used to play over and over again just because you just have these shifting firefights that, for 10 minutes we'd be up in the toilets of the facility. It's just stupid shooting at the door, trying to shoot through the door, somebody kind of jumping up and trying to get in the thing, and then it would move down into one of the other spaces, and then there'd be like they were just fun multiplayer levels.
Yeah, and the amount of time you could spend on multiplayer as well. Now, I don't know if I ever told you the story about how I broke my Rumble Pack.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay, so you remember all of the accessories that you used to get on the N64, and you get the third-party versions of them. Yeah. I used to have
they would get super warm.
Yeah.
Disconcertingly warm.
Well, I had one of these Rumble Pack and memory cards all in one things. Yeah. So it was this big, heavy fucking weight that was plugged into the back of the controller. But, it was a memory card and a Rumble Pack. I thought, oh, done deal. Why would I want two or neither? Since you're going to probably be playing a game which needs a Rumble Pack, and a memory card. So yeah, I had that, and it was playing, and this was like very, very sort of like the end of school. It was like 6th year sort of thing, and we were staying up till 4 a.m. on a Friday night, and we're playing GoldenEye, and I think we were playing Man with a Golden Gun. Mm-hmm. And one guy who'd never played it was just decimating me. It was like every time, I had nowhere to go. Like, there was nothing I could do. The only thing I could do to try and win was to try and get the gun from him. But in order to do that, I just had to go up the same set of stairs. And by the time
GoldenEye, you'd be able to see your own dead body if you were quick enough. Like if you were getting killed quick enough, you see your fading dead body from the last round.
But yeah, basically, it was like I had to go up some stairs, and I would just get shot over and over and over and over. There was no fun, and he was just like laughing, just like, why are you even coming for me? He's like, well, otherwise there is no game. Why are you stuck up there? So it was just kind of like, right, okay, and it just kept on happening, and the rage was building and building and building and building until eventually I held the controller like a hammer. I just smashed my Rumble Pack against the ground with the memory card in it, handy, and to the delightment and laughter of everyone else in the room. He's like, you funny, just fucking breaking your stuff because you're angry. It doesn't help the situation in any way. But yeah, very, very, very Richie moment there. Yeah.
Yeah. Property destruction.
Yeah. Rage. Incidentally, the memory card still worked. It's just the Rumble Pack stopped working, which just meant I had a very heavy memory card.
Yeah, GoldenEye, very good. In fact, yes. There've been quite a few good James Bond games.
Well, yeah. Like what? Go on.
There was actually we probably played it together. There's a PlayStation 2 one. They're having a lot, so I kind of lost track. And there were some that were based on films, and there were some which were kind of...
Was there not a sequel to GoldenEye?
There was a remake, wasn't there? Or there was going to be a remake, and it wasn't very good.
Well, there was a remake, and it's like you can play it now by getting a 360 emulator and playing the 360 version of it.
Okay, there we go. But there's one where in the game you have like a grapple hook, like a grapple line on your belt. And as you're playing through the story mode, you can only throw it up to, grapple grates, right? So there's certain parts in the story where you need the grapple gate. You can't just use it willy-nilly. But when you played multiplayer, you could use it willy-nilly. And if you got it, you must remember this, because I remember playing this for hours, but maybe you weren't there. If you got really good at it, you could kind of Spider-Man swing around the levels, and it would just brought a whole different dimension to this multiplayer James Bond game, because you'd just be swinging from wall to wall, shooting each other with this amazing grapple hook.
Oh, so the new metas emerge.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was great. And then the next one that came out, we bought it anticipating that it would be the same, but then they locked the grapple in the multiplayer mode to the grates, and it just was nowhere near as fun.
Oh yeah, you're not allowed to have fun with this anymore, guys. Be sensible. Just shoot each other in the face instead.
James Bond wouldn't Spider-Man swing around, actually. Ian Fleming's estate got in touch saying that's not an accurate depiction of James Bond. Swinging from wall to wall and around corners.
Marvel got in touch saying you can't use our Spider-Man license for this.
There's striking similarity to a well-known wall climber. Sorry, you were going to say?
What was I going to say?
Something about GoldenEye, I imagine.
Sean Bean was in it.
Do you know what? I think GoldenEye is one of my favourites.
Just dismiss me immediately. GoldenEye's one of your favourite what?
The James Bond films.
I mean, I like the Pierce Brosnan James Bond era, and it's probably only because I grew up with them. They seem to keep an element of campy kitschness that was quite exaggerated in the previous ones, like Moonraker and things like that. And I enjoyed that, but then I don't like the Daniel Craig ones because it's not James Bond anymore. It just kind of feels like Kiefer Sutherland's 24, but a film. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think losing that campiness actually loses a lot of what that film is. And I know there's probably a million people are like, no, come on, Skyfall's the best film ever. It's it's proper espionage. I'm like, no, it's not. And it's a film. It's entertainment. And I think James Bond, people just like, he is a camp character. He has to be.
James Bond hot takes incoming.
He is not he's a womanizing alcoholic who somehow is a spy at the same time. He is not an idol or whatever. He is, a fun escapism. And I think trying to ground escapism in the reality, which is what you see in, like, Quantum of Solace and all that sort of stuff, just it detracts away from it and turns it into, I don't know, another generic action film like The Bourne Identity or some whatever film that I can't make a generic one of. but you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, I do. And it was because it was quite, it was quite cool when in whichever James Bond went It's the worst James Bond chat because none of us can remember enough details about James Bond. But it's not even, in the grand scheme of things, like James Bond, talking about James Bond on podcasts is low hanging fruit. But talking badly about James Bond is like fermenting mush on the forest floor of podcasting. When M calls him out for being a misogynist, dinosaur relic, of course, because he's not all Wi-Fi connected, he ends up saving the day. It was quite funny, but also like a good turning point. But then just gritty. My memory of all the Daniel Craig ones is just of him limping, bleeding out, cuts all over his face, and it's been sad times.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you want to be driving a tuk-tuk over the roof of a market and then...
Or driving a car that becomes a boat or then becomes a submarine,
Go into the fucking moon or, just any of that. Not him being sad, bloody mess, dragging himself across snowy Scotland.
Oh, look at the cinematography. It's great. It's fantastic. Now, get a pen that turns into a hand glider.
Put a man's face in a plane engine.
Oh, lovely.
And then say, some like it hot, or I don't know. Some James Bond line.
Yeah. I'm trying my best.
But yeah, I quite like GoldenEye. It had the clicking pen, it had I'm Invincible, had a great song.
Yeah. Yeah, Tina Turner. That was a good one. Yeah. And it was also the return of James Bond. And it was a blockbuster,
Yeah. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, it's the James Bond you grow up with, the ones that were coming out in the cinema. So that probably dictates what people's favourite James Bonds are. But I think playing GoldenEye has also cemented that because you were just so familiar with it. Even though, the library, which you end up playing a whole level through with tanks in the game, is 90 seconds of the film.
Yeah, F that. Yeah. But recreating those scenes as well, and having that iconic jump off the edge, and then actually doing that in the N64 game, was cool. That was story driven gaming, and of course, when you watch the film, it is 2 hours of film, if that, and then when you play the game, you can spend 2 hours on the first, bit of a level. So you can forgive it for extending a lot of those things out, and it's cool, and there is extra things that it delved into as well. Oh my god, I just remembered something else, but it's a completely different game. But it was quite cool to. It was quite cool to see the game from a different perspective and see some of the story unfolding as well. You got a little bit more about Sean Bean's character from the game as well. That was fun. And the other game I was talking about was, do you remember Enter the Matrix, where you got the extra bits of...
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, all the extra scenes with some of the Z-list characters.
What? Not Z-list. They had Jada Pinkett Smith and what's her face, the Italian woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god! Damn it! I even whatever her. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Prove your point as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. I think let's not dwell on GoldenEye any further.
Mm-hmm.
How many Pierce Brosnans would you give it out of Alan Cummings?
God. Review of GoldenEye. I'd give it... what was the name of his gun? PPK, isn't it?
Yeah. of all the PPK.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give it a ABCD. I give it a PPJ out of PPK.
Nice. That's a good system. I like it.
What PPs would you give it out of a PPK?
I like PP. I think. No, I think I'm with you. PPJ, PPK.
Good. I'm glad we don't have to explain the system, but we both get the system.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a pretty good game, and full of memories as well. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we have talked Pokemon Stadium. We've talked
Yes.
GoldenEye.
Yes.
What?
I'm just saying yes.
Yeah. Yes. What other N64 games have we not touched upon? How about Mario Kart 64?
Yeah, I see. I never played it. Is that Double Dash?
No, Double Dash was on the
GameCube.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, so I didn't really play the N64 one. Half as much as I did the SNES one, and then also missed Double Dash, and then jumped back on with the Wii.
Right.
And so, in the Wii and the 3DS ones, when you play, in fact, Mario Kart 8, when you play the N64 levels, I still have this like tiny little twinge in the pit of my stomach. Like, oh no, not an N64 level. I don't know this.
I have the same because there's so many DS levels as well. And you're just like, I didn't play the DS version.
Oh no, I just don't know this. Whereas when you're playing the SNES levels, you're like, oh yeah, I know where the shortcut. It's ingrained in you where the shortcut is and blah blah blah. And it's the same with the.
Can you still do the mushroom jump in Ghost Valley 1 in the Wii version?
In the Switch version.
Switch version, yeah.
You can. Yeah, you can. If you've got a mushroom, you can. I think they've got a ramp there now.
Ah, right, okay. Fair
So you can cut out half the level. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the donut plains, there's that shortcut where there's a gap in the blocks.
Yeah, you just go straight through.
Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to the N64, like Toad's.
Toad Stadium. With all of the traffic.
The one with all the traffic. Yeah.
Yeah, Toad's Turnpike.
Oh no, I don't know this N64 level.
So yeah, I mean, I'm the opposite, and the N64 version was so cool. The battle mode was great fun. The 4-player Grand Prix was great fun as well, and there was a weird glitch in all cartridges, where depending on the number.
God, did you get it from Germany?
No. It was all cartridges.
Got it from Germany, special cartridge.
It's all versions of the game that when you played it with a
Luigi
certain
was naked.
number of players, it would sometimes change the speed of the game. And it was a lot of fun because like Donkey Kong Jungle, if you played it with I think it was with 4 players, it was so fast, but everything was fast. As in the starting lights would be, it'd be normally you'd get deep, deep. It was a deep, and you're like shit, and then you would hear the music faster. You would be going physically faster, and you're like, this is so cool. But yeah, like I remember stuff like that, and I don't know. I spent a lot of time playing it alone as well, and like perfecting the what's it called? Because there were so many shortcuts, but they were glitchy, cheaty shortcuts that you could do.
Yeah.
So like in Wario Stadium, there was one where like if you just get to the very, very top of a hill and then just jump across, you basically skip half the level, and it's super cheaty. You do need to perfect it. It's one of those ones where like if you manage to do it, people don't tell you off for being a cheat. They're just kind of like, wow, well done you. Fucking did it as well, and there was another one, of course, the Rainbow Road. Everyone knows that one. Like as you're coming down, you get that first big jump, but you actually head up off into the air, but instead of staying on the track, you can just turn just to the right angle, and then you'll land halfway, through the rest of the track, and you can continue on. And there was another one. There was a snowball one as well, which was definitely a really, really cheaty one, where you just turn round full 180. You go across a bridge, and then you just sort of jump off the bridge, and then it puts you back onto the bridge, but you've actually completed the lap. So you just continue around and do the next level. It's so cheaty. But yeah, I think that's probably the glitchiest of the glitchy ones. Hop yourself off the bridge so that you can get respawned and then just drive across and complete the lap. Yeah. But yeah, no, I really, really liked Mario Kart 64. I think it's the one that I spent the most amount of time on. But it's also, again, another one of those weird ones, and I'm not being fucking Billy Big Balls here, right. But it was like you would get gold on all of the courses.
Mm-hmm.
But because I didn't really care about time trials or anything like that, you could just reset the data.
Yeah.
And then just go through it and gold it all again. Because it was fun going through and playing that,
It's probably the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Really? Why?
No, I'm joking.
Ah.
Just resetting the data and playing it all again.
Yeah, because yeah, I mean, it was annoying because you had to do 50cc and then 150.
I sometimes it can be, well, when I'm playing the Switch online, and for whatever reason, either you're playing with friends or when you hop online for the first time, and if you've been used to 150cc or even 200cc these days, and then you have to go back to 50cc, it can be really hard. It can be really challenging. Oh God! Knock my microphone over. Oh God, this is go, just fucking go, and you get used to making drifting at a certain speed and where you have to jump, and it can be tricky.
Yep. Yeah. And I think, if you've not played Mario Kart 64 and I've said my spiel on Mario Kart 64,
yeah.
I think we're at an impasse here. Let's move on. What other N64 gems do you have in your bag? I don't know why it's a bag.
My bag. So you've gone into the N64 cave. What do I have in my N64 bag inside the cave?
Yep.
Turok was probably the game I put the most amount of time in after the ones that we played. Turok and Turok 2, Seeds of Evil.
I remember Turok, but I only ever played the that's a lie, but I mostly only played the 4-player co-op again. And the main thing that I remember is there was quite kooky weapons, and ultimately the one that you didn't want anybody to get, which was the insta-kill headshot golden gun, basically, which was called the Cerebral Bore.
Yeah.
And that's
violently drill through you and kill you.
Yeah, it drilled into your head, obviously cerebral, which is lovely. And yeah, so it was just basically a homing gun that you just had to sort of aim at the person, sort of, vaguely in their direction, and you won the game. But there was a lot of other things that were good and fun in that one. I think you had was it a circular disc saw that you had to run up? Yeah.
Yeah, they had some really cool weapons. It was very Turok along with Twisted Metal. Remind me of that just kind of rock. Everything was a bit dirty and rough around the edges and a bit grimy. And so Turok was very much that particularly when you compare it to things like GoldenEye, first-person shooters. It was rough around the edges. It looked like absolute shit. Just a foggy mess, and I think on Turok 1, maybe Turok 2, you would genuinely get lost in areas just because it was so foggy. You couldn't see very far ahead of you, so you kind of stick to the edge of the level and edge your way around just so you could remember where you were. Anyway, it was very kind of arcadey and fast and loose, and a bit kind of Mortal Kombat grimy with the ridiculous weapons.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
But the other thing was the enemy design in Turok. I was never. I played some of the campaign, and the enemies, like you play Turok and you think, right, I'm gonna kill some dinosaurs, but instead you end up killing people that look like they're wearing a green dinosaur outfit.
They look like Goombas from the Mario film.
Yeah. Yeah, oh god. But also, yeah, like just the fact that they are, these green lizard people, I think was a little bit rubbish. I mean, I know there's probably a Turok universe and somebody has the compendium guide back at Turok Studios with all of the universe and stuff like that. There was time traveling shit going on as well.
There was comics. Yeah, I think it's one of those series that has attempted some kind of canon, because I remember there was they released Turok 2 almost came out for absolutely every device, I seem to remember. Including Game Boy, and it's now out on Switch. I'm really tempted to buy it. I don't know why. Just to play through it again, I think. And just it sort of reminded me a little bit of Quake and Doom, except the level design was nowhere near as good, right? You were always walking down a corridor.
I remember getting very lost.
Yeah, that's I remember as well, because it was a bit foggy, and everything was a bit nondescript, particularly in the early levels, because you're just walking between big cliffs all the time, and it was a bit platformy as well, but not great platforming.
No, there would be platforming where you think, I just can't get up onto that ledge. There must be another way. And then you do a million other things, and then you would just find out, I can jump on that ledge.
I just have to.
You have to do the run up first and just jump at the very, very last minute. Yeah.
But miss it, and you fall down and probably splat into 7 chunks of body parts. Yeah, which is what the enemies did. See, it felt very rough and dirty, but for what it was kind of fun. And one of my favourite memories of it is the playing with the bow and arrow, which was kind of a novelty because everything else is guns. You've got this bow and arrow.
No, I like that. I like that idea as well. That's another thing that I feel like we should talk about as well, is bows and arrows in games. I always
me too.
I'm definitely drawn to bow and arrows in games.
Yeah. Particularly like explosive arrows, fantastic, love it.
Yeah.
So you fire hits them and then blows up. Yeah, bows and arrows in games, God.
But drawn to them. But you gotta get the pun, because you draw a bow. You know the idiom. If you have to explain the joke, it wasn't funny.
Well-known idiom. You know what they say. If you have to explain the joke, it wasn't very funny.
You're saying that like it isn't an idiom. Like, that is a well-known thing.
Is it?
Yes. Well-known by normal people.
I'm looking at... sorry, I was looking at their dictionary, but you're talking about the University of Life.
Yeah, University of Life. School of Hard Knocks. On the streets.
On Civvy Street. This is an idiom from Civvy Street. You wouldn't know about it.
You've just not lived the life of the streets, man. You wouldn't understand.
The mean street. The idioms that you're chucking around on the mean streets of Glasgow. Well, you know what they say. If you have to explain the joke.
Fucking hell. Stop doing that Scottish accent, man.
You know what they say.
Anyway, did I have a point? I got very distracted there.
Turok and Turok 2.
Yes, they are games on the N64. I played the multiplayer bit, and that's about it, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I got really excited for the 360 version.
Yes.
Came out.
Which you loaned to me and I never played.
Which I loaned to you. Still got it?
Do I?
Man, that game has been on loan for... It's like my only 360 game, I think.
Like, I feel like you took it away last time.
12 years you've had that, man.
12 years.
Still might play it.
Still might. Yep, exactly. My 360 is operational and it's sitting under my telly. I could still play it one day.
Turok 360 was famous for having that annoying achievement, wasn't it? Where you had to team kill in multiplayer to get it.
Oh god, was it one of these ones where you had to kill a developer when they were online or something stupid like that?
Yeah, and then you could spread. No, it was just you had to team kill a certain number of times, I think, and so it just made the game unplayable for a bit because everyone was killing their own team.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Not that we know anything about that. Hear it?
No.
That goes a minute.
Never.
I'm thinking about buying Turok now. I don't know why.
I mean, we're just talking about all these old retro games. Every single one of them we want to replay. If we don't already own a reiterized version of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's another thing about the N64. Is not many of them are still playable. We were saying that the week before we got the announcement that Mario 64 has come to the Switch. But yeah, you know, Pokemon. None of the Pokemon games. Oh, that's bullshit. I was literally talking about Pokemon Snap on the Wii the other day.
Yeah.
A couple of the Zelda games have got full remakes.
Yes.
Turok 2 is out on the Switch. Doom 64 just came out on the Switch. Yeah, okay, it's just bullshit. It's just GoldenEye.
Well, I mean, the thing with this, yeah, exactly. It's probably stuck up in some horrible red tape, bureaucratic copyright hell of never being able to be re-released ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah. With all of the likenesses of like every single person.
Oh god, yeah. Even though they don't really look like them at all,
No.
because
and nobody would care if you just went and said,
yeah.
"This isn't Jaws. This is Boz."
Yeah, this is a metal teeth, and this is
tiny razor hat man. And this is Arctic Guard 3. Oh shit! Shit! We can't use Arctic Guard 3.
And it turns out, like, Pierce Brosnan's not that bothered. There it is. But the guy who's the developer whose face was captured for Arctic Guard 3 is the most litigious, and it's the only. Everyone else has said yes. You know, the estates of the actors who played Oddjob and whatever, they've all said, yeah, it's been fantastic. And it's just the Arctic Guard 3 guy who's holding the whole thing up from a 30-year collection re-release to all platforms.
Oh dear. Right. Well, okay. I think we're gonna stop there. We shall talk about N64 more at another point. Maybe next week. Maybe not next week. Maybe we'll give you a palate cleanser, and we'll talk about N64 a little further down the line. Who knows? We'll see how we feel on the day.
We'll talk about Diablo 3 again.
Yeah, for a good half an hour before we actually talk about the actual N64. And Richie will fuck up the intro, so you don't even need to listen to next week's.
That's it. Just re-listen to it. Just download this one and listen to it over and over again, and that's probably a better experience than listening to different episodes.
Yeah, okay. Come on, Farley, kick us off.
I never kick us off.
I know you never kick us off, but you're now kicking us off.
Oh, I wanted to say something funny.
Oh, right, okay. Hey, Farley, I heard that guy's a maniac.
Not the N64 level.